Welcome back to the channel, guys. So here we've got my Hyper 7. Now those of you that have seen this before will remember this was a brushless version. As you can see now, I've made it nitro. Been having a few problems with it, to be honest with you, but we're finally there. I took it out for a run yesterday, and I blew the tyres off the rims, so I've had to come home and managed to start cleaning all the old glue off the rims. I've still got a couple more to do. As you can see there, that one there's still got a lot of the glue on the rim still, so I need to a lot of the old tyre and glue on the rim, so I still need to clean that one off and that one off. Once we've got those cleaned off, we can get the tyres remounted and glued on properly. Luckily I managed to get all the tyres off without damaging them, so be able to re-stick those. Obviously the glue's just let go after time. The little bit of rubber you can see there is just that tiny piece there, look, so that won't affect it or hurt it. Conversion, those of you that are keen Hyper people will notice this is a Hyper ST tank, because I actually took this setup out of one of the STs I got a couple of months ago now, and I took the nitro setup out of the ST and made that brushless, which I'll show you in a minute, and put the nitro setup in this one. So we've got the Hyper 7 8-port 21 engine. The only thing I did have to buy, if you notice in there, you'll see there's a different plate and different engine mounts, because they're actually Hyper TQ mounts, and I've also had to Dremel out the chassis a little bit more to get my starter box to engage with the flywheel. That's a 35mm flywheel, and I've got a 38mm flywheel on the way for it, so that will make it a bit closer to the bump start box. But otherwise, generally very happy with it. I'm going to chuck in a little video now of this ripping about, doing a few little donuts and what have you. Very fast, very capable little buggy. That little 21, this engine there has got to be 15 years old, I'd say, if not a bit more. It's a very old platform, but it's an absolutely fantastic buggy, especially running on nitro. And the reason I made this nitro, I've never been an advocate for nitro because I've always had problems with them. Over the years I've learnt a bit more, I've got a bit more patient with them, can spend a bit more time tuning it and messing about with it, so I'm starting to learn to like them again. But I've got, so that's the Hyper 7 Nitro. Now we're going to show you, we've obviously got the GS Storm, so let me go through a few of the projects we've got on the way with you. So this one here is my modified crawler. It's based on an MN's model. We've got the Hobbywing 1060 ESC in there with a 370 motor. Now the 370 motor in there is just not powerful enough. In fact, I smoked the one that was in there the other day. We'll show a little clip of that here. So yeah, that got smoked. So I put in a smaller motor that I had, but it's just not powerful enough. So I'm waiting on a new 370 motor to come for that one. And then we can go out and hit some trails and crawls. Now I've been modifying this and playing about trying to get some flex. As you can see there, got quite a bit of flex now in the chassis, so hopefully that should actually crawl quite well. But yeah, waiting on a 370 motor to arrive for that, and then that's that one done. Okay, so next up I've got my custom carbon fibre frame build FPV drone. So here you can see we've got the FPV camera in the front there. We've got the 5 gig transmitter at the back here, 4S LiPo battery. We've got our flight software controller here, which controls our motors, independent carbon fibre blades. I just need a couple more screws for the base plate. So this here has got to go on. That bolts down onto that there and secures all the power board at the bottom underneath it there. So just got to go down to the local fixing store and pick up some countersunk screws that are a little bit longer, because the ones I had weren't quite long enough to go through. And then that will be ready for its inaugural flight, and we'll see how that goes. Next up we've got this. It's another little project I've picked up. It's even got its outboard motor on it. Let's move that wheel out of the way now. So we've even got an outboard motor on it, which is actually your rudder. This is a 4S capable boat. Normally runs on 3S, but I have seen people run them on 4S, and apparently it does take it, so should be quite interesting. We've got a slide the front off here. What have I done? Oh, that should be off. There we go. Right, so we've got a water-cooled ESC in here. We've got a brushless motor, outrunner. Now, unfortunately, this is the problem with this one. So again, waiting on parts as always. Where's the rest of that gone? It's hiding in there somewhere. So the actual flex shaft on the propeller has snapped. So that's why we haven't done any videos with that. So I'm waiting on a new flex shaft to come. Once the flex shaft arrives for that, we'll have that up and running. And we'll take that down to the local pond or the park or whatever, and give that a blap across the ice waters and have a bit of fun with that one. I've seen people go. Oh, this has also got the self-righting system on it here. Notice you've got the holes on this side here. Now the idea being, let's just put the lid back on, and you got a hole here. You got a drain bung there, and then you got a hole at the back here. Now the idea being, if your boat ends up in the water upside down, put it this way here, there we go, this side here where the holes are will fill up with water. That will then become heavier. The boat will end up like that, and then you hit the power and start driving forward, and as you start driving forward, all that water that's got in there will pour out the back of the hole here, and thus will allow the boat to basically self-right and continue on its way. So that's 1, 2, 3. What project are we on? The Hyper 7, the crawler, we got the drone, and we got the boat. So that's 4 projects on the go at the moment. And then because if 4 wasn't enough, we've got another one here. So this is another project that I picked up at the same time that I got the boat and the drone and a few other pieces. I've got quite an interest. Now this looks to be based on a Red Cap or a HSP or a Nitrotech or something of equivalent. Fully alloyed up. I've put a big 2200 kV Traxxas motor in there. We've got our ESC that I've put in there. 4-wheel drive. Now this is going to be an AliExpress special, I'm afraid, because I've got to wait for a load of parts to come from China for it again. So we're still waiting on parts. For whatever reason, whoever started to upgrade or build this cut the centre brace. Well, I want that piece in there, so I've ordered a new centre brace. I've ordered the battery holders and the clamp to go down over the top of it. I've also ordered some alloy servo mounts for our steering servo, so that can be mounted in there and control our steering. And I think that's pretty much it with that one. Again, with this big motor that I've put in there, I've had to cut the chassis. Not quite straight here, I need to trim that up a bit more, but it does, so it is sitting on the chassis here slightly, so I still need to shave a bit more of that off. And once we get that done and the other parts turn up, we'll have quite a nice alloy basher. Now it's a custom chassis on this, you can't buy this chassis. The chap I got it from actually bent and folded and made it himself. So it's a very, very strong aluminium chassis. So this should be quite an interesting basher. We've got a wheelie bar on the back there as well. Don't know what else to say about that one really, apart from yet again waiting on parts. So that's another project that we should have some videos on soon. Hopefully we'll get this one down the skate park and send it to the moon. It's not a very heavy 10th scale vehicle, so with all that power on a 2200 kV Traxxas motor, that should be pretty impressive. And we've got the Raptor body Ford on there, so that's quite a smart little body, I think. Just about clears the wheels there. Not sure on landing. It's gonna, but you know, we'll play about it and see what it does. So that's another project. So there we go. Apologies, videos are a little bit sparse at the moment, but British weather hasn't been that great and I'm stuck waiting on parts. Even the Baja, I've got some reviews to be doing on that. OBR UK have sent me a side pipe for the Baja 5T. I did a couple of little preliminary tests with it. The footage wasn't that great, so I wasn't very happy with it. It's a bit shaky because I didn't have anybody else there, so I was trying to film and drive the car at the same time. It's not the easiest thing to do, those of you that know, especially with my controller, because you can't quite reach the wheel and the throttle, so I kind of have to sort of use a very strange method. Either that or clip the GoPro to the controller, and then of course it's quite shaky. But yeah, that's going to be up and coming. First impressions of that side pipe, absolutely fantastic, a hell of a lot of power. I've also discovered that the diff in the Baja is broken, so one of the 16-tooth pinion gears inside the differential is munted, so that needs to be replaced. So again, waiting on parts for the Baja. The Hyper ST Nitro is running absolutely sweet as a nut. So yeah, that one's sorted, so we can hookta, as they say at the moment. The GS Storm brushless is running sweet as a nut, although that could probably do with a more powerful ESC. And the the brushless Hyper ST has got a new system in it, so that's running a 2000 kV 4-pole race star motor and 120 amp ESC, so that's now 6S capable. It's a lot of fun, pops wheelies on 4S as it is. So yeah, 6S is a bit of an animal, but we will get some videos of that. Hopefully once the weather improves, we'll get that down to one of the pump tracks or BMX tracks, get that doing a few airs and jumps and some lovely footage of that there for you. So bit overwhelmed with projects really at the moment. So like I say, we've got the drone, we've got the HSP Raptor 150, we've got the boat, we've got the Hyper 7's pretty much there. I've just got to finish putting it back together and then get some videos of that done for you. We've got the Baja, which is waiting on parts. So yeah, bear with me guys, we will get some footage soon. Hopefully the weather will improve and hopefully Mr. Postman brings me some parts this week and we can get this stuff up and running and get some fantastic content made for you all guys. So stick with us and we'll see you again soon.